After spending several weeks with family in Cincinnati, Ohio, Clark arrived at the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky International Airport in Hebron, Kentucky, for a flight back to Orlando, Florida, where his mother lived and where he would be taking classes at the University of Central Florida. With $11,000 in just his pocket, he culmination of 5 years' worth of savings from various jobs, financial aid, gifts from family members and benefits from his mother, a disabled veteran. Clark checked his bag and headed to the gate to await the departure of his flight. He would eventually return home, but the cash Clark had in his pocket didn't make it. Instead, the weight of the federal government came down on the 24-year-old, and his $11,000 was seized by federal and state law enforcement before he ever boarded the plane. "I'm not a drug dealer. I've never been," Clark said. "I didn't have any plans on doing anything illegal. I was just trying to get home." Treated like a criminal. Clark brought the money with him to Cincinnati, Ohio, he said, because his mother was moving apartments, and he didn't want the moving company to find his money. Additionally, because his bank had few branches, he felt safer knowing his money was near. After Clark checked his bag and headed to the gate, a ticketing agent with U.S. Airways, unbeknownst to the young man, placed a call to agents with the Drug Enforcement Agency and the Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Airport Police Department. The ticketing agent told the officers that Clark's luggage smelled like marijuana, according to an affidavit filed by William Conrad, a Cincinnati-based officer with a DEA task force, with the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Kentucky. Conrad and Detective Christopher Boyd approached Clark when he was waiting at the gate and asked if he had drugs or money on him. According to Conrad's affidavit, Clark was free to walk away at any time. Clark told the agents he had $11,000 in just his pocket and agreed to let the officers search both him and his carry-on bag. The officers didn't find any drugs. However, Clark admitted that he had smoked marijuana on his way to the airport. Then, the officers seized his $11,000, cell phone and iPad. Clark received his phone and tablet 2 months later. But, more than a year later, he's fighting to have his cash returned. "I was being treated like a criminal, and I didn't commit a crime," he said. "It was very frustrating." According to court documents, Conrad said the money was seized based on probable cause that it was proceeds of drug trafficking or was intended to be used in an illegal transaction. Mitigating factors included the purchase of a one-way ticket, inability to provide documentation noting where the money came from, a positive hit by a drug dog, and the strong smell of marijuana on his checked luggage. When the officers attempted to take Clark's money, Conrad alleged the 24-year-old became irate and grabbed Boyd by the wrist. A short struggle ensued and Clark was eventually arrested and charged with assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct, Conrad said in court documents. However, the charges against him were dropped, and Clark was never charged with a crime related to the alleged drug trafficking. "I was nervous," Clark said of his encounter with the officers. "I didn't want them to take my life savings. I worked hard to save this money." The United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Kentucky did not return the Daily Signal's request for comment.